We're now joined by Acting HOD of the Northern Cape Department of Education, Dr. Michelle Ishmail. She joins us now via our video link. Dr. Michelle, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News, ma'am. And of course, we are just a few days away from the opening of schools for the new academic year 2025. And some schools, say that, they don't have their stationery, or their stationery will not be delivered on time. This is a major concern. Are you concerned as the Department of Education in the Northern Cape?
Indeed, ma'am. We are concerned, and hence we've been in discussions with Provincial Treasury, all stakeholders, and indeed we were able to secure some funding, and this funding has been allocated to schools. We've also provided schools with some form of guidance in the form of a circular that was posted on what our HRM, our Human Resource Management System platform. And here we've guided schools how to procure, and all of this funding for stationery and all their immediate needs has been taken care of.
So if you're saying that the funding has been secured and immediate needs will be taken care of, does this mean that next week children in schools will have the necessary study material?
I can say this to you. As we've indicated earlier, 90.8% of all learning, teaching and support material, this is textbooks, are in schools. Stationery was our problem, given the fiscal budget cuts that took place early in the year, as well as the fact that we had to absorb the 4.7 cost of living allowance. We did fall short with funding, but importantly, we've secured funding through Treasury. They've made an allocation available. This funding has been allocated to schools. It has been approved by Treasury. The funds have been released by Treasury, and we've guided schools, as I indicated, through a circular, which will tell them exactly how to spend the funding that has been given to them.
When was this issue of funding flagged? If we find ourselves, a couple of days before, the reopening of schools, that we're still, discussing issues around stationery, that some schools, were not even going to be able to receive their stationery on time?
This problem, it is a dilemma. It wasn't only in the Northern Cape. I think it was throughout the sector. It has been flagged very early in the 2024 year, after there was an indication that the budget cuts were a bit too deep. It has been flagged. There has been ongoing discussions with all the necessary stakeholders, as well as Provincial Treasury, as well as the Premier in the province. And I can say that we have been allocated the funds now, and I can also say that we await further funding to close the necessary gaps.
And, I'm sure you'll be now speaking to Treasury as they plan for the new financial year. How much of a priority is this to you as a department in the Northern Cape to ensure that something like this doesn't happen, that we find ourselves talking about children that may not have their stationery come the first day of school?
I can assure you, ma'am, and your viewers, importantly, the norms and standards for all schools, school funding norms are priority, and we're doing everything possible to ensure that this is ring-fenced and schools get all the necessary funding. To tell you the truth, that all schools got their norms and standards in May. The 209 million was allocated to them in May. We were a little late with the norms and standards in August, September. But since July, we have been flagging this all the time, and all our necessary principals are very aware of it.
All right, Dr. Michelle, thank you so much for your time. That is Dr. Michelle Ishmail. She is the acting head of Northern Cape Department of Education. They're talking about an issue that is affecting the education department, particularly in the Northern Cape. She also says that it seems as if, it is also an issue in some parts of the country, but saying they have managed to secure some funding from Treasury and saying that they've also been flagging this issue around a shortfall in the budget when it comes to preparations for the 2025 academic year.